Hi everybody, my name's Kay. You're watching Amidst the Gray, and today I'm going to torture myself with the only 10 mass market decks tarot tag. Thank goodness this isn't real life. This is one of those tags that's equal parts joy and pain, sunshine and rain. Joy because you get to get all the things out, and look through them and just say, ooh, what am I going to pick today, So in that aspect, it's fun. But then there's pain because some things are going to get left behind, But I really like thinking about my library in new and different ways, and it's tags like this that kind of push me to do that more and, assess what's important to me now. If I had to take just a handful of things now, what would those things be? And it's a good exercise in self-awareness because in the end, the tools that we use are kind of a reflection of where we are. And I just feel it's important to consistently kind of be taking a look at that, where am I in my body, in my life, in my relationships, just kind of bringing it back to the present moment. And I think this is just another way to do that. In my little community tab this morning, I posted a list of ideas of videos I wanted to make for the remainder of December, and ironically, this one is nowhere to be found on that list, and that just reinforces the fact that I'm just a chaotic and spontaneous person. And that's okay. This is a VR to Meg from Rose Honey Ritual and Thea from Garden Goddess Tarot. It's a kind of spin-off of the original Only 10 Decks tag that was started by Katie Flowers quite a while ago. And I had thought about doing that one too. In fact, I had an introduction filmed and done, but then I was like, no. I just, the whole process, I wasn't feeling the flow with that one, so I just kind of abandoned it. This one, on the other hand, is a bit different. I think in general, this one just kind of appealed to me because I'm having a bit of a love affair with mass market, just in general at the moment. And in fact, the majority of things that I might intend on getting toward the beginning of next year, they're all mass market. There isn't one independently produced deck to be found. I have a master list where I have indie decks, but as far as these are the ones I might like to bring in soon, they're all mass market. So I think that's why I'm gonna give this one a try, just because it'll be interesting to see kind of what I end up choosing. Okay, time to show you what I came up with. The first deck that's an absolute essential for me is the Ancient Italian Tarot. This is a Lo Scarabeo deck, widely available. This deck made an appearance in my Coffee House Decks tag, and I would go out on a limb so far as to say that if I was only able to keep one tarot, indie or mass market, it would probably be this one. I have a thing for the old Italian decks, and for me, this one is just a really great all-arounder, and it's very affordable, which is even better. So this is definitely the first tarot I would choose, Ancient Italian, Lo Scarabeo. While the Ancient Italian is amazing for everyday, kind of mundane readings, this deck, the Cosmic Tarot, I have found for me personally is absolutely spectacular for work and creativity-based readings. I feel much of that has to do with how expressive the figures in this deck are. It's very emotive, and this screams, numerologically, this screams number 3 for me. It's expressive, it's creative, and it offers a lot of opportunity for expansion. I've edged mine in navy blue. I also trimmed it, and I got a little cheeky and went out on a limb and just assumed that it would be kosher for us to also keep any accompanying material. I do have the expanded guidebook by Jean, is it Hewitt's? I think it's Hewitt's. And it does offer quite a bit of elaboration in comparison to the Little White Book. Cosmic Tarot, US Games. For my third and final choice for tarot, I knew I would want a deck that would connect me to symbolism and the elemental aspect of tarot, which has become such a fundamental part of how I read. And this deck does it for me like no other deck does. This is the Elemental Power Tarot by Melinda Lee Home. It is published by Cico, CICO, I don't know how to pronounce that, books. It is a pip deck. The pips are in different orders than you would normally see, for example, in a Marseille deck. But if you use a lot of numerology, then you will probably have a fundamental grasp of how you might interpret these cards. One of the aspects I love about this deck the most is for the majors. I love when majors are in symbols, because for me, it just cuts to the chase and gets to the energy. And the aces in this deck are extraordinary. I love the RWS aces. I'm actually a huge fan of the RWS aces, but the aces in this deck I adore, and I love this death card. I love that death card so much. The majors do have the Kabbalistic reference in the upper left-hand corner, and there's another ace, the Ace of Cups. The courts in this deck are different in that it's purely symbolic. So you look at this, and this is the Page of Wands, and you know, because the element in the corner is the element of fire, and then you see all of the earth and the top and the bottom, and the pages are also represented by the wreath. So that's the Earth of Fire, the Page of Wands. The guidebook goes more into how that is interpreted. I love the box. Great production. Elemental Power Tarot. For my first oracle, I knew I wanted a deck that just was a simple deck with simple keywords and phrases. And out of all of the mass market keyword decks that I have, this one beat out every other one. It beat out my Hedgewitch Botanical, it beat out my Vintage Wisdom Oracle, and it really drove home for me the importance of numbers in my divination practice. This is the Numerology Guidance Cards by Michelle Buchanan, published by Hay House. And looking at these cards, looking at the number, looking at the color, it really just emphasized what is important to me in my divination practice. This deck for me just strips it down to the fundamentals, which I knew would be something that I would want if I were only able to keep 10 decks. I have edged mine in black to match the front border. The front border is in black. The guidebook it comes with is actually quite good, and Michelle Buchanan has written a few other books. It's simple, it's fundamental, and it stays. Numerology Guidance Cards, Michelle Buchanan. For my next oracle, I chose the one that I call my cheeky little devil deck, and I love it so much. This is the Answer is Simple Oracle by Sonia Choquette. It was originally published by Hay House, and now from what I can tell, it is actually out of print, and I wish I would have known it was going out of print, because I would have picked up a couple more copies for sure, because now it's going for absolutely insane prices. This deck will tell you to drop it, for example, if you need to drop it, and it just does it in such a cute and sweet way. It just is kind of no nonsense, but at the same time, absolutely adorable, and it's just straightforward advice. I have a few decks that are just kind of straightforward advice decks, and out of all of the ones I have that are mass market, this one, hands down, beat it out. This deck was featured in my Coffee House Decks tag video as well as my Standout Decks of 2022. Answer is simple, Sonia Chiquette. This next deck connects me with symbolism, and I knew I wanted as much symbolism as I could cram into only 10 mass market decks. And this deck is essentially a deck of sacred symbols, and I love it. This is the Oracle of Ascendance. It is published by US Games, and it is comprised of various categories of symbols. For example, the elements, the planetary symbols, the nodes of the Sephiroth, of the Tree of Life, the chakra system, the runes are there, and just other symbols from various traditions from around the world. And it's broadened my horizons in many ways. I wish the guidebook were a little more meaty, but it does offer a bit of a jumping off point for you to kind of go off and do your own research. It's very high quality, and I don't see it a lot, and I think that's a shame. Oracle of Ascendance, published by US Games, for sure stays. This next deck and I have become very attached, especially in the last year. This is the Tao Oracle by Ma Deva Padma, and I think the publisher is at Lawrence King. I'll double check and I will make sure it's included in the little title. This is a deck of hexagrams of the I Ching, and the artwork is spectacular. And I use this deck for a very specific purpose, in order to connect with my study of human design in a bit of a different way, because it is a deck of hexagrams. And if you know anything about human design, you know the importance of the I Ching in the system of human design. And this just gives me a different way to connect with the gates of the body graph. And I use it throughout the lunar cycle. I choose a different card every lunar cycle to work with. And I love that retreat card. And I happen to have gate 33 defined in my body graph. This deck is just spectacular. The Tao Oracle by Ma Deva Padma. The book is in my work bag. This next deck is, like the Oracle of Ascendance, also one I don't see very often. This is the Journey Oracle by Adrian Trafford. It is published by Schiffer. This deck inadvertently for me became sort of what the Nicoletta Ciccoli is for others, as far as breaking out the big guns and connecting with the subconscious or the shadow energy. And I did not get it for that specific purpose, but it just kind of morphed into that for me. And some of the cards are horizontal, and that doesn't bother me one bit. In fact, when I get horizontal cards, it often is a cue for me that I maybe need to broaden my perspective a little bit. Adrian Trafford's writing is actually quite good, and I love these little Schiffer magnetic boxes. They are amazing. I just love them. They make me happy. Once again, this is the Journey Oracle by Adrian Trafford. In choosing criteria for these selections, I knew I wanted a deck that offered a bit of escapism. And for me, this deck does that. And it again, this is another one I don't see very often. This is the Wisdom of Avalon Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid, published by Hay House. This is very much an older deck of hers. It is pre-Jenna Della Grataglia art. And I think that's one of the reasons why it might have a tendency to get overlooked. But this deck brings out my inner storyteller. I've had some really fantastic journaling sessions and writing sessions with this deck, and I just think it's really underrated. It did come gold gilded, and those are the backs. Once again, this is the Wisdom of Avalon Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid and published by Hay House. And last but certainly not least, my one other deck is a Lenormand. I've had a rocky relationship with Lenormand, and it has only been in this year that I have started to get comfortable with Lenormand as a system, just because I realized that there's so many different ways to read Lenormand, and I don't feel that every way is going to work for everyone. And for me personally, the only way of reading Lenormand that has really resonated with me has been a grand tableau, when I can lay out the entire deck in front of me and see the big picture of a situation. That's what I like Lenormand for, is if I want a big picture overview, a bird's eye view of whatever is going on that I want some insight for. This is the Pixies' Astounding Lenormand, published by US Games. It is my current favorite Lenormand, and it stays. That process was far easier than I thought it would be. I thought it was going to be this long and tedious and arduous task, and it absolutely was not. I really had a good grasp kind of intuitively on what I would take. And again, it's interesting just kind of seeing where we are in our practice and what matters right now. It's insightful and it's informative and it's valuable. Thank you to Meg and Thea for this spinoff. It's just given me a little bit more to chew on, so to speak, as far as what I have and what I'm feeling the pull to use. So, yeah, got a lot out of it. Very valuable. So, thank you. That's it for this one. Until my next video, take care and be well.